welcome back, trolls. We are today again playing Warhammer Fantasy. This is the Thriller Zombie, so of course that means we have vampire counts versus Empire in a clash of Warhammer 8th Edition, and we are upping the game today. We are going to 4,000 points. Here's a look at our table before we get to the armies. Got a nice little hamlet that has been taken over by the vampire counts, and the forces of the Empire are coming to stop them. Whoa. Happy Halloween, and we will now move over to the armies. Alright, here's a look at our 4,000 points of vampire counts. They are going to be led by Manfred Von Carstein on foot, Count Manfred. We have a level 2 vampirus on foot. We have a vampire count battle standard. And we have a mounted vampire count, or vampire. And we also have a banshee. No necromancers in this army because this is a vampire counts army, not a necromancer army. For core, we're going to have 2 units of 5 dire wolves. We are going to have 2 units of 30 skeletons. We are going to have 2 units of zombies in horde formation, 50 each. We are going to have 2 units of zombies, 50 each in bus formation. For special, we are going to have 40 Grave Guard with great weapons. We're going to have 8 Crypt Horrors. There's going to be a unit of 17 Black Knights to accompany the vampire on horseback. We are going to have these Fellbats are actually going to stand in for Vargeist because Fellbats suck and Vargeist are awesome, but we're not going to buy new models just because Games Workshop ruined the rules. And then we are also going to have in rare, we're going to have our Vargolf, the giant zombie werewolf over there. We are going to have a zombie dragon. That's a house rule of ours that allows the zombie dragon. And we're technically using the Undead Legion rules from End Times, so we also have 2 Screaming Skull catapults. And that is 4,000 points of undead, mostly vampire counts. Over to the Empire. For spells, the vampires, as of course we all know, Count Manfred gets Lore Master of both Lore of Vampires and Lore of Death. The level 2 Vampirus has Raise Dead and Invocation, and the other 2 level 1 Vampires, they just have Invocation. So that is our spells. Okay, tell me what you have for 4,000 points of Empire.
So they're going to be led by a general with a rune fang, a bright wizard, and a what is it, like a high priest?
Elector count? Or no, what's he called?
It's like a high warrior priest.
Yeah.
Whatever the warrior priest
I know
is.
what you're talking about.
And for heroes, we got a gray wizard on horseback, a warrior priest on horseback, 1 captain, the standard bearer captain, another captain, witch hunter, amber wizard, and a master engineer.
Archlector, that's what he's called.
And for the troops, got horde formation of 50 halberdiers, 2 units of 25 great swords, 25 swordsmen, 18 knights.
Inner Circle Knights?
Yeah. 2 units of 12 handgunners, 10 crossbowmen, a Hellblaster volley gun, steam tank.
Old school steam tank.
And 2 cannons.
All right.
Oh, and altogether 12 pistoliers who are in 2 units of 6.
Gotcha.
Or 2 units of 5.
Cool. What'd you get for spells?
For the Bright Wizard, got Fireball, Cascading Firecloak, Piercing Bolts of Burning, Flamestorm. The Amber Wizard has Weissman's Wild Form and Transformation to Kidan. And the Grey Wizard has Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma and Occam's Mind Razor.
Sweet. All right, so this is what things look like on the other side of the table. We will bring you all back after deployment. All right, we are all set up for our Halloween battle line between the undead and the Empire. Here we go. So we have the Vargeist over here, the Vargolf in the woods, the dire wolves. This is a tranquil wood here. We have a unit of zombies with the battle standard bearer, the grave guard, the crypt horrors, another unit of zombies with Manfred. We have a screaming skull catapult back here, zombie dragon, unit of skeletons, banshee, unit of black knights with the mounted vampire, another unit of zombies, another screaming skull catapult, skeletons with our vampirus, dire wolves up here, and another unit of zombies holding down the flank. For the Empire, we have the demi-wolf knights, we have inner circle knights with the wizard and the warrior priest, we have the pistoliers, cannon, great swords, swordsman with the witch hunter and the warrior, no, not a warrior priest, a wizard. We have a unit of handgunners, hellblaster, giant brick of halberdiers with a wizard, the general, and the battle standard bearer. We have a unit of crossbowmen, unit of handgunners, more pistoliers, more great swords, great cannon, and then the steam tank holding down their flank. So we are all set. The Empire won first turn, so we will go ahead and get started and see you guys after turn 1. All right, we are at the end of Empire turn 1. The Pistoliers moved up and took out, what was it, 3 of the wolves over here. The Magic took out a couple zombies from Manfred's unit with a fireball. This unit of zombies lost 12 from piercing bolts, but then the wizard suffered a miscast, so he forgot piercing bolts and his cascading fire cloak, and now he's a level 2 wizard. Over here, these pistoliers took out one wolf. The steam tank cannon took out one of the Vargeists and put a wound on another one. The great cannon over there in the corner took out 2 of the crypt horrors and 4 grave guard. And I believe that is it for shooting and magic. So the Empire's moving up. They had a pretty good round of shooting. So we will go over to the vampire counts and see what we can do. All right, see you guys after that. Okay, this is where we sit at the end of vampire counts turn 1. Vargolf and friends moved up over here. The direwolves tried to charge the pistoliers, and the pistoliers were dead on and took out all of them. Over here, thanks to Manfred's Van Hales and Invocation, were all up in the Empire's business, and Manfred has healed up all the damage that was done last turn by the Empire shooting, so that's a plus. Up here, we just moved up. These guys weren't quite close enough to get in on the Van Hales. The zombie dragon moved over to there because these guys were too far out from Manfred. They could only move regular movement. Again, the dire wolves tried to charge the pistoliers. These pistoliers were also dead on. Only one of them made it into combat, and then he whiffed and they took him out. So that is where we sit. The vampire counts are in a pretty good position to strike next turn. So we will see how things are looking on turn 2. All right, this is where we sit after Empire turn 2. The Demi-Wolf Knights charged over here. They beat the zombies and expanded their frontage. Over here, the Knights failed to charge into the skeletons. The Pistoliers tried to fire off some shots into the zombie dragon and failed. The cannon took out two Black Knights over here. The what are they? The Hellblaster tried to fire off at the skeletons and only killed one. The what are those? Handgunners. They tried to shoot at the Black Knights and didn't do anything. Over here, the crossbows and handgunners managed to take 4 wounds off the werewolves. And then the steam tank and the great swords charged at the Vargeis and wiped them out. The great swords then reformed up on the werewolves, the crypt horrors. And over here, the Pistoliers fired off some shots at the Vargoth, but he managed to regenerate all of them. So the vampire counts are down a unit, or another unit, considering that we already lost the wolves, but we're not looking like we're in a bad spot right now. We've got some good charges, hopefully coming up on our turn. The Banshee is in a prime spot, and the Zombie Dragon's in a prime spot. So we'll see how things sit after vampire counts turn 2. Here's how it's looking at the end of Vampire Counts turn 2. The Crypt Horrors charged the Handgunners, beat them in combat, ran them down, and overran into the Crossbowmen. A lot of the Vampire Count units came up here to try and hopefully set up some charges for next time. The Vargoth kind of slunk around the corner over there. Manfred decided to step out of the unit rather than get tangled up into combat. The Black Knights charged into the Swordsmen, and the Swordsmen actually ended up winning that. They actually snuck 3 wounds through into the Black Knights. Over here, the Zombie Dragon charged into the Great Swords, killed a couple of them, but then took 2 wounds himself. Over here, the Vampiress stepped out of the unit. She raised up some more zombies to this unit, and we lost some more zombies over here to the Demi-Wolves. Hopefully just trying to hold up this flank and keep these troops out of the main combat is the goal over here. Manfred kind of had a fizzle in the magic phase, and the Banshee's scream didn't do anything. One of the skull catapults did manage to take out 9 halberdiers, so that was a plus. But not too bad. Could have been better, but not too bad. We'll see how things look after Empire turn 3. Okay, end of Empire turn 3. That was a really good turn for the Empire. Over here, the steam tank came in and took out a lot of zombies, trapping the vampire BSB in combat. Over here, the Pistoliers took a wound off the Vargoth. Good news for the vampire, the Crypt Horrors took out the crossbowmen and ran off into those woods. Over here, the halberdiers came into the zombies, put a pretty good sized dent in the zombies. We did take out 10 halberdiers in return, so we'll have to do quite a bit of raising next turn. The handgunners and Hellblaster took out a good portion of those skeletons. Over here, the Black Knights and the Swordsmen ended up drawing in combat. The Zombie Dragon won that combat there, but because the Great Swords are stubborn, they ended up holding. Over here, the Knights couldn't quite push through the skeletons, though they did do a lot of damage. And the Demi-Wolf Knights have almost wiped out this unit of zombies. So our zombie units are starting to hurt, but the vampire counts still have a lot of oomph left. Oh, I did forget to mention over here against the Great Swords, they came into the flank of the Grave Guard. The Grave Guard did lose that combat, We only took out a couple of great swords, but we did manage a combat reform, and now we can bring more attacks to bear on them next turn. So that is where it sits, and we are heading into Vampire Counts turn 3. Here we sit at the end of Vampire Counts turn 3. The demi-wolves finally finished off the zombies and reformed over here. The vampirists got off Invocation and boosted up the skeletons and the zombies here. The knights couldn't quite blow through the skeletons, so they're still sitting there. Looks like they're going to get some help next turn. Over here, the zombies tried to charge the pistoliers, but they decided to flee. The greatswords finally finished off the zombie dragon. The knights broke the swordsmen, but couldn't quite catch them, so they are fleeing. Over here, the skeletons ran into the handgunners, but the handgunners passed their leadership test. Over here, the halberdiers just about ground down this unit of zombies. They have a few left. And over here, the Graveguard are starting to chip away at the great swords. The Vargolf charged into the flank of the steam tank, and strangely enough, from the Vargolf and the vampire could do nothing to the steam tank, but the zombies snuck one wound through on the steam tank. Crazy. Oh, and Screaming Skull Catapult managed to deal 2 wounds to the cannon over there. So that is where we sit at the end of Vampire Counts turn 3. We are moving on to Empire turn 4. Looks like turn 4 was a good one for the Empire. The demi-wolves here charged the vampires in the woods. She took out one of the wounded wolves, but they managed to sneak 2 wounds through to her and take her out. The knights continued to chip away at this unit of skeletons. That unit of swordsmen on the very edge of the board rallied. They're not in combat with the Black Knights, they just rallied. They did have a cannon misfire, so that was something in the Vampire Count's favor. The great swords here hit the unit of skeletons in combat with the handgunners in the flank and wiped them out, and now they're facing off against the crypt horrors over there. The Hellblaster took out 2 crypt horrors with shooting. The unit of halberdiers here finally finished off this unit of zombies, and now they've reformed up against Manfred. And the great swords and the Graveguard continue to duke it out. And then over here, the steam tank beat the zombies in combat by so much that more zombies crumbled and the Vargolf crumbled. So not a good round for the Vampire Counts. We'll have to see what we can do on our turn 4. Hopefully we can raise up some more dead. All right, see you guys after Vampire Counts turn 4. So not quite the turn for the Vampire Counts we're looking for, but still not too bad. These skeletons managed to hold on. They still have 4 remaining to hold these knights up some more. The zombies here fail to charge into the great swords over there. The Black Knights, who are off the table, they beat the swordsmen in combat after charging and then ran them down and ran off the table, so they'll be back next turn. The Crypt Horrors there, they charged and took out the Hellblaster, and then they reformed like so. Over here, Manfred had a pitiful magic phase, but he did manage to raise up another unit of zombies here and create a bit of a speed bump for these halberdiers, and hopefully we can have a better magic phase next turn. Again, the Graveguard and the Great Swords continue to duke it out, and then over here, the vampire snuck through another wound on the steam tank. So the steam tank now has 2 wounds. So that is where we sit. Thanks to the 1 spell Manfred got off this turn, he did heal his last wound up. So he's back up to full wounds, so looking good there. And that is about it. So this is where we sit. We are getting ready for Empire turn 5. I still think this is anybody's game. This is a close one. See you guys after Empire turn 5. Okay, the Empire's continuing their string of luck. We'll start over here this time. The steam tank, even though the vampire snuck one wound through into the steam tank, it managed to grind down those zombies and made the rest of them crumble. The Pistoliers all tried to fire their shots off into Manfred. They scored a wound on him. The Graveguard are slowly grinding down the great swords, but they refuse to break. The Halberdiers here managed to finish off our zombie speed bump. Over here, the great swords charged the Crypt Horrors and took one of them out. And then over here, the Demi-Wolves are turning to face the zombies. And these knights finally finished off the skeletons, and they are turning to face the zombies. So those zombies are in for a tough break. But we have the Black Knights coming on next turn, so hopefully we'll get them in a position to do something. And we are going into Vampire Counts turn 5. A very good turn 5 for the Vampire Counts. These zombies just turned around to face the inevitable charge coming from these two units. The Banshee moved over and screamed and did 5 wounds to these guys. The Manfred actually had didn't have a great magic phase, but had a better magic phase. He brought up a new unit of zombies. He got off a invocation that added to the zombies, added to the Graveguard, and added to the Crypt Horrors over there. So that helped them get some more attacks on the Great Swords. The Black Knights came back in. Manfred is hiding over here on the other side of the Halberdiers. The Graveguard finally did wipe out the unit of Great Swords. The lone hero that was with them fled. The Graveguard decided to reform instead of pursuing him. These Graveguard did, or not Graveguard, Great Swords did lose to the Crypt Horrors, but they held because of their stubborn. So that is where it sits. Still could be, the Vampire Counts are in a good position, but still a very fragile position with the Empire going into their turn 6. The Empire still has 2 cannons and a giant bus of knights over here. So we'll see what the Empire can do on turn 6. All right, at the end of Empire turn 6, the Knights and the Demi-Wolves have chiseled off a large chunk of those zombies, but the zombies are still around. The Wolves got in, or the Crypt Horrors got in some good hits on the Great Swords there, but they're still holding on. The Halberdiers hit the speed bump of the zombies, blew through them, and then overran into this combat, and they were able to throw their attacks in again against the Graveguard. And even though the Graveguard got ground down by the steam tank and the Halberdiers, they are still holding. They only lost that combat by 6. So we do still have them on the table, which is nice. The hero that was fleeing did not rally, and he is still running. So the Pistoliers here plucked 1 wound off of this Screaming Skull Catapult. So we still, I think it's pretty good in favor of the Empire right now, but we are going to finish out Vampire Counts turn 6 and see what we can scrape out of this game. So we will go on to Vampire Counts turn 6 and then get back with you. All right, we are officially going to put this one in the win category for the Empire. Even though the Vampire Counts needed a solid magic phase, Manfred got Curse of Years off on the Halberdiers, but didn't manage to kill anyone. He tried to get, what was it? He tried to get he cast a Gaze and Nagash onto those handgunners, but they managed to pass their leadership test. But the big spell is Manfred needed the big Invocate, which he got it off with a 22, and the Empire stopped it with double sixes on turn 6. So no invocation, no more dice left in the pool. With that, the Graveguard doesn't have enough models left to win that combat, so we're not even going to roll it. And we know the zombies are going to get wiped out here. The Black Knights tried to make this charge and get into this combat and add the hero level vampires attacks into there, but they failed their charge. So we are just going to call it there. It's a well fought victory for the Empire. Went all the way to turn 6, and it was just a fun game. For me, I would definitely say that Graveguard and Manfred are my top dogs for this game. How about you?
I definitely think my men in the match are gonna go to the great swords and the steam tank. The great swords definitely did nicely holding up some big units for quite a good portion of the game, and the steam tank just crushed its way through zombies and graveguard left and right.
Oh yeah, and I would say the Demi Wolves actually did okay. They chewed their way through a brick of what 50 zombies, and then took out a vampire. So that was pretty helpful. The Pistoliers were actually pretty helpful, I think, for you because they kept me moving Manfred around because otherwise they were just going to end up shooting him to death.
Yep. I also definitely liked how the artillery performed. They didn't have too much to do since with all these buildings it was difficult for them to see much especially with all the units on the table. But I think with what they could do they did a good bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think you got some good shots in there with the cannons. They kind of misfired on you towards the end, but the steam tank never misfired on you, so that was a plus. I've seen some people that misfire the steam tank the whole game. I got a couple good shots in early in the game with the skull catapults, but I don't really think they did much towards the end. What it was? Oh, they did take one wound off the steam tank, I think, on turn 5. I don't remember if I put that in the turn 5 video. But the steam tank is down to 4 wounds, but he never went over, caused a misfire on it, so that's pretty cool. Anything else you want to add to this one?
I think the biggest challenge I faced with this game was definitely the fact that after turn 1, magic wasn't entirely reliable for me. I mean, having my level 2 wizard go, or my level 4 go down to level 2 definitely kind of hurt.
Yeah, that hurt a lot. That pretty much let Manfred have his way with the magic phase. Having that many more dice. You just have a sea of zombies over here.
Yeah.
And over here. And zombies.
And losing my beast wizard halfway through the game wasn't the greatest either. I'm losing Weissmans and
yeah. Well, Weissmans would have been really helpful against like the zombies. I think my biggest mistake is, usually I'm not aggressive enough. I think I was too aggressive in this game, and I held back, or I should have held back longer and really boosted up those 2 bricks of zombies in horde formation a little bit more, and then maybe tried to charge into you on like turn 3. But I got off that Van Hales, and it just seemed like it was too good to be true on turn 2, so I told him to go for it.
Yeah, that definitely helped you quite a bit. Those werewolves chewed their way through a decent portion of my range units.
Oh yeah. The Cryptars, they went for a rampage through the back line. Would have been nice if they could have caught one of those cannons also. But all in all, I say it was a good game. It wasn't. There was no one thing that definitely tipped the balance. Even Manfred wasn't that overpowered, because we had 2 magic phases in a row where we couldn't get more than 5 dice, even with Manfred's ability to reroll on the winds of magic. And the Banshee, she was a bit of a disappointment. I think she's probably the biggest disappointment I had. But other than that, fun game. All right, that's it. This is our Halloween game. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, and we will see you all in November.